I made a video a couple of days ago saying that I would talk about the Tristan Clements case. Now, if you don't know what that is, Tristan Clements was a coach in Arkansas when he was arrested for having an inappropriate relationship with a student. He was actually charged with first-degree SA against that student. It was one of the first videos, I believe, that I did in my crimes of Arkansas employees that have been arrested for crimes against children. So he did have trial the other day, and according to someone that commented on one of my videos, whose last name was also Clements, she said that he was found not guilty. I was going to do a video about that case, and I was going to say some of the things in evidence. Because here's the thing, you guys, and I know that this sounds stupid, so I hope that you stay with me for just a minute. I make videos about Arkansas crimes. So in some form or fashion, I have to believe in the justice system in some way. But I don't fully believe in the justice system. Because whenever you have a jury trial, the information that is presented to that jury trial is the information that the judge allows to come through after the prosecution and the defense are done fighting. You know what I mean? Not all evidence is going to be presented to a jury. There's a lot of evidence that won't be presented to a jury. So, especially crimes against children, those sorts of things, accusations by children of crimes that were committed against them, I have a very difficult time separating what I think is fact or not, especially when someone is found not guilty. Are they not guilty? I don't know. I didn't hear what the jury heard. Are they guilty? I don't know. Again, I didn't hear what the jury heard. All I know is what I have read in the police affidavit. Now, the affidavit of arrest, that is, a lot of times it is my main source of information. But you also have to consider that that affidavit is what police put out there because they want that person charged with a crime for whatever reason. So is that form actually accurate? I don't know. That's a question you'll have to ask yourself. So what I'm going to do is tell you what the affidavit said, and you can decide for yourselves, knowing that he was found not guilty. So according to the affidavit, on April 26, 2022, an investigator was able to review the case. The mother of the victim made contact with Officer Kondo at the police department. She informed Officer Kondo that X, we'll just call the child X, had been messaging Tristan Clements, who is a teacher at a school, Vilonia High School, who I believe is the mother, ordered the relationship to stop on April 13th, 2022. On April 19th, 2022, she was told that by the victim that the victim had intercourse with Tristan Clements at Toadsuck Park. So on April 22nd, the Child Advocacy Center interviewed X about the incident. Police were provided footage of the conversation and was able to view it on 4/26. The interview was administered by a woman named Brittany. She began building a rapport with X and talking about her hobbies. The interview is over 2 hours long and will be attached to this case. I took notes with timestamps for that will also be attached to this case. Brittany asked X who her favorite teacher was, and X responded that it was Coach Clements. However, she seemed hesitant to give this answer and was quieter when she answered. X also stated that Clements had told the class that he understood high school can be hard and that he was always available to talk. X then said that eventually she began talking to Clements in private about things that she was going through. After one particular conversation, she asked Clements if they could hug it, quote unquote, hug it out. Clements seemed hesitant, as stated they should wait until another teacher left. They then hugged. After this time, they would hug normally after they talked. X further explained that the conversations became regular and happened after school. They would meet in somewhere. Clements had a younger sister who X believes is named, don't know, who would often be in the classroom after school with him. The victim said that Clements would sometimes have the victim go or have his sister go print something off. X was a little vague about this, but it seemed that Clements was having his sister go print stuff off so that he could be alone with X. During these conversations, they would talk about various problems she was going through. Specifically, she mentioned family issues and a male on Snapchat who was making her uncomfortable. She was uncomfortable because she believed the male might be leading the conversation towards something sexual. X stated that she asked for Clement's number so that she could talk to him. Clements refused to give out his number, but he did provide her with his Snapchat information. The victim then reached out to him via Snapchat by saying hi. X said that this started about a month ago. They would message each other good morning every day and talked frequently. X said all contact through the phone was done through Snapchat. The conversation became more personal, with Clements opening up about his personal problems to include issues with his parents and him caring for his sisters. During the interview, Brittany asked X if the relationship had changed as they talked more. X said that they continued to meet and hug, but the hugs became longer. She said they would hug face to face and would not pull away from each other. The investigator then went on to say, after listening to the interview, I made contact with the principal of Vilonia High School, Ronnie Simmons. Simmons said that he had become aware of the allegations on April 21st. He was told that Clements had been communicating with X via Snapchat. They met in Conway, picked her up, took her to Toadsuck, and had intercourse with her. He pulled Clements into his office immediately and spoke to him. Simmons asked Clements directly if he had been in communication with X. Clements told Simmons that X had contacted him on Snapchat, but he had not responded. He denied meeting her anything about sexual contact. He denied that. Simmons was then removed from school grounds and will not be allowed back until the investigation is concluded. I could be wrong, but I'm guessing that Ronnie Simmons was removed from the school grounds because he had knowledge of the accusations and didn't contact authorities, but I don't know. X said that she told Clements she, quote unquote, wanted more on Snapchat. She said that conversation then turned sexual and they began to describe what they wanted to do. She was asked who initiated more of the conversation, and the victim said that both of them did. Brittany asked if Clements wanted to, quote unquote, have intercourse or have sex. The girl, the victim, X, nodded and replied, yeah. Brittany asked if they ever had intercourse, and when X was asked this, she visibly reacted. She tensed, bit her lip, and appeared to almost cry and nodded. Brittany then asked about when they went out and did something. X said that the first kiss was on Saturday, April 16th. She said that Clements could meet her at Woodrow Cummins Elementary on Paget Road, and something about getting there through a path in the woods. X told her mother that she was going to meet a friend to take photos. Her mom was suspicious of this because her friends usually picked her up at the house, but X told her she planned to meet them somewhere else. So X left and her mom followed her in the vehicle. And this part reads a little weird, but it seems like the mom confronted her daughter as she was following her in the vehicle and was like, I think this is about Tristan Clements. And then there was an argument between the two of them, and X she left off walking through the woods. So X went to the school, but there were multiple vehicles and people there. She used her phone to message Clements, and he told her what kind of car he was in. He then pulled up to her in a white SUV type car. She said it wasn't very big. It had gray interior. It was a 4-seater with a bench seat in the back. X turned off her location services on her phone so that her mom wouldn't be able to find her. She did not tell Clements that they had argued about him because she was afraid the relationship would stop. Clements had previously asked the victim, or asked if her mom went through X's phone. They then left. Clements told X that we can go to Toadsuck. I know a few places we can try. X explained that they ended up at Toadsuck Park, but there were cars and campers around. They then left the area, crossed over the bridge, and found a more secluded spot. There is only one place for campers at Toadsuck Park. It is the main campground that is in the southwest portion of the park on the Perry County side of the river. Due to X saying they crossed the river on the camping area, I believe they ended up in the southeast section of the park on the Faulkner County side. Further, I drove the southeast part parking lot and found that it was fairly long but narrow. The parking lot led to down south to the river. It would not be feasible for campers to be back in an area of the park. This part is also very secluded and dark, which would fit with what Clements trying to find a place away from people. X said that there were other cars in the area when they got there, so they waited for them all to leave. After the cars left, they began to kiss. They initially began to kiss by leaning over the console in the front seat. X said that Clements began to touch her. Then Brittany asked X to explain where she was touched, and X said that he put her hand on her right side. It's a little bit confusing, but it says move down towards her hips, and then he started to quote unquote move down. Brittany then retrieved an anatomical drawing of a female and asked X to indicate where she was touched. X then pointed to the right hip on the drawing and said that he moved his hand to the back. This would be in line with her buttocks. X then told Clements that she didn't want to quote unquote take anything off. X then said that Clements moved his hand over this area at the same time as saying this. She held her right hand open, palm down, over the pubic region of the anatomical drawing. X said that she grabbed his arm. He pulled back a little after being grabbed. Brittany asked X to explain further what this area is, and she put her hand on her right side, the right side of her stomach, and ran her hand down between her legs near her private area. Brittany asked X to point out on the drawing, and she encircle it with her fingers, the right side of the stomach, right thigh, and pubic area. So when doing this, X became very uncomfortable. When she did this, she tensed up, sat higher in her chair, circled quickly, sat back deeper in her chair than she had before. X said when she told him she didn't want to undress, he replied, okay. When he pulled his hand back, she shook her head a little bit. Brittany asked X to explain this head shaking, and she said that she was trying to pull his head back, and he was doing this. As she was explaining this, as she shook her head in a clear no. X said she wasn't ready yet for him to do that. Clements then moved his hand back to her thigh. Clements then put his hand under her skirt, but not in her underwear, and asked if she was okay. X doesn't remember if she answered him or not. X said that she wasn't sure what happened next, but that Clements apologized. He said he was sorry. He thought she meant to not go under her underwear. She did not reply to that. Brittany asked X to explain where and how she was being touched. X became uncomfortable again, but pointed to the pubic area on the drawing. Brittany asked X to tell her what she would like to call that area. X did not want to say anything out loud, but eventually said V area. Clements waited for another car to leave and then asked X if she wanted to get in the back seat. After another car left, both exited the vehicle and got in the back seat. Brittany asked X if she knew what was about to happen. X replied, yeah. Brittany then asked how she felt about that. X became very quiet and said, I don't know what. X did say something else after this, but was so quiet that the microphone did not pick it up. X said that he got in the back seat and she got on top of him. They were both fully dressed. X was wearing a skirt and Clements was wearing sweats. Clements then grabbed the top of his sweats and asked her, is this okay? She nodded and got off of him so he could pull down his pants down to his mid-thigh. X then said before he had pulled his pants, he retrieved a condom from the front of the vehicle. The condom was in a black box and was clear. Brittany tried to speak to X about what all she saw. She said if X saw the condom, or she asked if X saw the condom being put on, and she indicated yes. Brittany asked what X would like to call his genitals, but X was too uncomfortable to answer. Brittany then suggested calling it the P area to match her earlier discomfort in saying the V word. X attempted to explain what she saw, but was too uncomfortable to say anything out loud. Her only statement was that he had pubic hair. X then got back on top of him and moved her underwear to the side. They then began to have intercourse. Brittany asked X how she felt, and she said it hurt. Brittany asked where Clements' P area was, and X responded inside. X said she could feel where it was going, made an upwards motion with her hand, and said it was hurting. She mentioned feeling a stretch. X asked Clements to hold on, and they paused for a few seconds, maybe a minute, then continued. X then said that Clements, quote unquote, finished. Brittany asked her about it. X was again very uncomfortable talking about the specifics. She said he grunted. I believe that X was using finished to describe Clements having an orgasm. After it was all over, X said that she felt weird and looked out the window. She did not see what he did with the condom. Clements then drove her back to Woodrow Cummins and dropped her off. X said that the event was between around 6 and 8. X said that they continued to talk on Snapchat the next day, but the relationship quickly changed. He started responding less, and by Monday or Tuesday, he wasn't responding at all. While at school, he treated her like any other student. X confronted Clements during one of the free periods. Clements said that she hadn't done anything wrong. She asked him for a hug. They both looked towards the door and then hugged and kissed. X said it felt different than usual. Clements told X he liked her, but not in a romantic way. X said that she feels guilty because she found out Clements was married. X began to feel physically and emotionally sick, so she told her mom what happened. Towards the end of the interview, X stated that she had exchanged nude photos with Clements. They were done over Snapchat, and they both sent to each other. He sent photos of his P area, and she sent photos of her chest and quote unquote back. She motioned toward the back when she said this. Due to her discomfort describing her body, I believe she was referring to her breast and buttocks. I made contact with in person. She provided me with the clothes she believed X was wearing on that night. She said that they had been washed. I checked the clothes at the police department and found the bag containing a floral skirt, blue jean jacket, tan shirt, and 2 bras. No underwear was in the bag. They were placed in evidence at the Conway Police Department. On 427, it says, I made contact with school resource officer Hogan at Ruth Doyle. He was able to provide video footage from Woodrow Cummins on April 16th. The first video is titled Side Drive. It is showing the west of Woodrow Cummins and shows the driveway and goes from Pageant Street to the back path into the woods. I know this path to be common for kids to travel. At 7:04, you see a female X exiting the woods from the north and stopping at the southwest corner of the parking lot. She is wearing, and then it describes what she is wearing. The clothes closely match the ones provided to me by her mother. A white SUV style vehicle pulls up to get her, and she gets in. The vehicle then turns around in the lot and leaves. The second video is titled Track. It shows the same thing, but from a different angle. The vehicle X that are shown, the vehicle and X are shown more clearly. As the vehicle turns around in the parking lot, you can see that there is a sticker or design in the upper left of the rear glass. The third vehicle is titled Trek Drop Off at 7:53. A white vehicle closely matching the one in the first 2 videos pulls up to the gate on the rear path. X exits the vehicle and begins walking east towards her residence. So then it says April 28th, through TLO and speaking to Principal Simmons, I was able to confirm some of Clement's contact information, his cell phone number, his address. I drove to the residence to see if I could locate the vehicle that was in the video. There were 3 vehicles in the driveway, and one of them returned to Tristan Clements. However, the white vehicle from the video was not there. I applied for a search warrant for his location services and phone records to check his location at the times in the video we have. I have also applied for a search warrant for X's Snapchat account. As of now, I have not yet used the username or located a username for Clements' account to apply for a warrant. On April 29th, Detective King and I went to Tristan's address and attempted to contact Tristan in person. I could see that there was a 2017 Kia Sportage in the driveway. It was white and very clearly matched the vehicle that picked up X. I spoke to Emily Wilhite on the recorded PD phone and asked her about the Kia. She said it was hers, but Tristan had been driving it for around 3 weeks. On May 9th, It said, I received an email from AT&T providing me with Clement's cell phone data. According to my search warrant, I was able to pull his cell phone data in relation to his data usage, calls, and SMS from the evening of 4/16. Starting at 6:19 in the evening, it shows that his cell phone was pinging on a tower labeled 3131. The tower covers Clement's residence in a large portion of East Conway in Faulkner County, just outside of city limits. There are then numerous pings showing data and phone usage between 6:19 and 10:23. The cell phone usage tower pings show that Clement's phone begins moving west after 6:19. The pings continued until they hit West Conway. There are several more pings on the west side of Conway before 8:13. The cell phone towers that are being used during this time encompass X's residence, Woodrow Cummins Elementary, where Clements picked X up, allegedly, and Toadsuck Park, where they allegedly had intercourse. On 8:13, Clement's phone pings on Tower 3144 that shows him to be in the north central Conway. The pings then continue to outside of our city limits. There are then numerous pings between 8:33 and 10:23 that all encompass Clement's residence. The results from my AT&T search warrant corroborate X's statements of being in contact with, then picked up at Woodrow Cummins, and then the SA that occurred at Toadsuck Park and being dropped back off at Woodrow Cummins. Further, this matches up with the times from the videos from Woodrow Cummins where Clement's vehicle was in the parking lot and where he was then seen picking up X. On 5/19, I picked up medical results from the CAC. The results were from the SANE nurse who had done a forensic exam on X on April 22nd. The SANE nurse's report said that when X was first examined, she had laceration or tear noted in the vestibule of her V area. It also said that she was re-examined less than a month later on May 11th, and that laceration or tear had been healing, which was indicative of penetrative trauma. So that is the end of the report. I'm so sorry that I wasted so much of your time by reading the report, but I think it's imperative for you to see why it is that I am refusing to say, I'm sorry, Tristan Clements, that I posted a video that said that you had allegedly essayed a student. I see now that you have been found not guilty, and please forgive me, because I ain't going to ever say that. I'm so sorry, and I don't mean to be rude, and I don't mean to be hateful, but this report tells me otherwise. So unless the police just made all of this up, made up all of the AT&T data showing that he was at this location, Tristan Clements, why were you picking this juvenile up? Why were you putting her in your car in the evening, not even picking her up from her house, but picking her up coming from the woods? Why were you picking her up? And then you dropped her back off. Boy, she didn't make up those times, because those times are verified, but she made up the rest of the story. Are you kidding me? No, you know what, Tristan Clements, you know what I think? I think that you did exactly what she said you did. I think the jury got it wrong. Maybe they didn't, hear all of the evidence. It happens, Casey Anthony, but I'm not ever going to apologize for putting out that video. And I'll keep putting them out as far as this goes. So please don't come into my comments being like, doesn't it mean anything that he was found innocent to you? No, lady, it sure doesn't. It really doesn't mean anything to me that he was found innocent. And I'm sorry that the justice system is the way that it is. There are plenty of innocent people sitting in prison right now that have done absolutely nothing to deserve being there, or people that served a full sentence in prison and then got released but were innocent the whole time. And then there are guilty people that are walking around freely out here. So that's just the way it is. And sometimes we have to use our own judgment, and people can listen to this video, or they can go read the statement themselves and decide for themselves what it is that they believe the truth is. But I feel like my opinion is very clear on this, and it's just simply not going to change.